What's up? How's it going, everyone? We decided to give a quick overview on the pairs we're watching heading into the week ahead. Today is August 5th, 2018, and this video is being made before market open. We personally won't recommend entering any positions on these pairs until Monday through Tuesday night. Also, always make sure to do your own research and use proper risk management before entering. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM us on Instagram at Epic Analysis. Now let's dive in. So on one of the first pairs that I'm looking at is going to be AUDUSD on the monthly chart. Let me just zoom in a little bit. So yeah, on the monthly chart, you can see that price had this strong crash from, what is this, around July 2014, then shot all the way down towards September 2015, and then bottomed out. And then ever since then, we've been in somewhat of a correction wave. Recently, we had some railroads around March 2018 where price straight dropped on the monthly chart for what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and now we're consolidating. Overall, it would be best to wait for somewhat of a retracement up and then see if you can spot an entry back to the downside there, or wait for either a breakout back above 175. Breaking it down to the weekly chart, we can see that in this key area right here at relevant price, that price has been having struggle breaking below what, the 173, 172.50 area. Yeah, so like around 173, price is having trouble to break below. So as long as price can stay above 173, above 0.73 overall, price, I can see price going back bullish towards 175, possibly 176. If price were to break 173, then I can see price possibly cooling down towards these previous areas of support in the past, around 172, 171. So overall, what you should do on this pair is to be patient, wait for either a bullish engulfing candle or some type of bullish price action to drive it up, or wait for price to break below the 0.73 support and then wait for a retest back up to short it. Going to the daily chart, you can see that we're clearly in somewhat of a downtrend right here. Price keeps making lower highs and lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And right now we're in consolidation. So if we draw our Fibonacci retracement from this previous high down to this low, it can give us potential retracement points. So our 38.2 is around that 745 area. Ideally, I would like to take it towards either the 61.8 or the 78.6. That would be a lot better retracement. If price can find resistance within these areas, we could potentially see a price fall back down towards 0.74, 0.73. Price needs to break above this high right here in order to break the bearish trend and go bullish. So price needs to break above this 76777 area in order for price to break structure and go bullish long, probably back up towards 0.775 or 0.78 area. If we don't get a break back above 0.76 or 0.77 area, then more than likely we're going to see price pull back down anywhere from 100 to 200 pips back down to the downside. So don't make any decisions early. Wait for price to give you that bearish or bullish confirmation and then take your entry there. Don't try to guess the market. Just wait and see what the market gives you and then take it there. So real quick, on the 4 hour, just like for some quicker price action, you can see that we're clearly still moving sideways and not no true direction. Based off the weekly, we still broke bullish price action, but overall, because we're in consolidation and we just made new lows, price still could give us some type of opportunity to go long. So overall, everything that I see, AUDUSD is overall in a bearish momentum or bearish trend, but because we have already made new lows from here, and we've consolidated. We can see a potential pull up anywhere towards the 38 to the 78.6. And if it pulls up to any of these areas and finds resistance without breaking this high, then overall it's probably going to come back down. We're going to need a break above this highlighted box area in order for the bearish trend to be broken. So overall, some of my thoughts on AU. I'm not, until I get that bearish or bullish confirmation, I'm not taking no entries on it. I have, other periods that I'm looking at that look a little better, but that's just my thoughts on AU. Let's move on to the next one, EURCAD. So yeah, EURCAD has been dropping pretty nicely lately. Let's start off on the monthly chart. As you can see, price fell into this key supply zone around 158, 160. Let's highlight that area real quick so you guys can see it. So yeah, clearly this area is having some reason to why price can't break. So price pulled up, gave us somewhat of a shooting star, bearish engulfing, and ever since price has been pulling down for the past 4 months. This last month of July, we can see that price started to break through the blue moving average, and now right now it's in between the blue and our red moving averages, potentially looking to come down towards either this support around 149 or maybe even this black EMA around 147 if it could make that deep of a retracement. So coming to the weekly chart, because just to keep in mind, we like to look at the higher time frames first and then break it down. It's not like we're taking entries off the monthly or the weekly. We just like to get the overall feel for the charts and then go down and take our entries off the 4 hour or the 2 hour or whatever. So just so you guys don't, try to take entries off the weekly or the daily, because that'll, be a real headache. But coming down to the weekly right now, you can see that price made this impulse move to the downside, pulled up for a retracement, gave us somewhat of a tweezer top, and then ever since it's been dropping. And last week's closed in a shooting star. So shooting star confirmations are pretty much bearish momentum candles. You don't want to just sell it at the bottom of it. Sometimes you may need to wait for a little pullback. So if I could get something that looks similar to this, if price doesn't just keep dropping to start the week and it makes it somewhat of a retracement, I would like to see price either pull back up to this 38.2 or pull up towards the 61.8. From there, I'm going to be looking for selling opportunities back to the downside. And overall, my TP is going to be around anywhere from 148 to 147. And price could possibly go lower. But overall, if I could catch 100, 200 pips on this setup, that'd be great. Back down like this. So overall, EURCAD, if I could find something that looks similar to this, this would be great. Back down to the downside. And overall, my overall bias is to the downside, but keep in mind, if price fails to break this area at the bottom, then we're more than likely going to get a pull up, and that bearish setup might be invalid if we fail to break this area. So right now, price ended in a shooting star. So this week ahead, price could either fall right into the box and break, or it could shoot up. So let's say, for example, price shoots up early in this week and it pulls back down. If it were to pull down and fail to break this demand zone, it has to fail to break this. If it fails to break this zone, then overall my setup is invalid. So we need a clear break below this zone in order to go lower, just to keep in mind. So let's move on to the daily. On the daily chart, you can see that price found support down here, started to pull up around from 149. It pulled up all the way towards 156. So about 600, 700 pips of rise. And then from there, we've been getting somewhat of a bearish rejection. So right now, price fell back down into the same zone that we rejected from. So overall, like I said, we need a break below this area in order to go short. If price fails to break this area, then I'll be looking for more so long opportunities. But overall, I want to see a break back below after a retrace. So I want to see a pull up, come back down, and a break. And then on this break, if we could get something like this, a break and then a pullback and retest of that break, it would give us higher probability of why to sell it. And it will look something like this. So if we could get a break of this box, a retest into this box, that would be an entry point, and then we'll look to take it back down towards our overall take profit around 147, 146. All right, don't want to take up too much time, so that's my thoughts on EURCAD. My next pair, GBPAUD, I've been watching this pair for about a month or two. It's been consolidating a lot, but recently we just got a breakout. Okay, so yeah, EURCAD. I already have a lot of things on my chart already, but just follow along real quick. At this bottom part on the daily, if you come down towards what is this, September 2017, and you start a trend line from here, and let me just redraw it so you guys can see how we like to draw trend lines. So yeah, if you started from this bottom point right here and then connected towards this wick, the tip of this wick right here, and then extend it out into the future. So if you guys haven't already edited your trend lines, you have to edit, and it's better to click on this right and extend, so it already extends out, and it's not like you're dictating where to line up your trend line. Instead, if you put on the right and extend, it just lines it up. So once you connect it to point A to point B, whatever happens, happens, instead of you trying to, line it up. So it just gives you like a more so a fair shot of what the trend line, instead of you trying to, make it to where you don't never lose. So if you can see that once I drew it from my point A to point B from here to here, and I extended it out, price fell through, cut through these candlesticks, and then finally price pulled back up, and you can see that same trend line has got retested and it held. So usually after a breakout of a trend line to the downside or upside, whatever, but in this scenario, we're going to the downside, we like to see a pullback to the upside, retest on that same broken trend line so we can look for short opportunities. And with this pair, it consolidated a little longer than expected, but overall the setup still played out. You just had to be patient enough. And if you can see from here, price made highs around 180, 179, pulled down, and every time that it pulled back up, it made new lows from the previous high. So for example, this right here was the first high. Price pulled down, made new lows. When it pulled back up, it failed to break this previous high right here. Pulled down, made new lows, broke this low, pulled back up, and failed to break above this high. Pulls down, comes back up, fails to break above this high. So you can see that it's trending, making lower lows, lower highs. What we really like to see, in the trend. And for this pair exclusively, you can see that price found support 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, around 10 days in a row. And then, on Friday, we finally got a strong bearish engulfing that gave us somewhat of a breakout between this demand zone. So let me just draw that out real quick. So right here is this box. As you can see that this candle finally broke out. What I would like to see early this week is somewhat of a retracement so we can sell it up a little bit higher. So what I would like to see is something like this. If price could, find support around 175.5 or whatever, and pull back up maybe towards this demand zone, which would now be a supply zone, or it could possibly even pull up a little higher, maybe towards like the 61.8 area, back towards 177, 1775. With these pairs, they've been making a deeper retracements lately. So, you don't want to take entries too early. You want to, be patient and wait for that nice entry. So my first entries is going to be, around, the first time I'm going to look for entries is probably going to be around 1.765 towards 1.77. Ideally, I would like to sell it above 177. If I could get it anywhere above 177, my stops could be above these highs right here around 1781. And then you could take it back down toward either 175 or 174. And then those are my overall TPs for this pair. And on a higher time frame, you can see that after price broke the trend line and found support and pulled back up, price found that resistance and now is overall dropping. After a strong retracement and overall, I can see price potentially pulling back down towards this previous support. And this previous support aligns with somewhat towards this negative 61 retracement, which would be my second TP. So around 174 would be a good TP for this area. And overall, price just needs to break it a little bit. So even if it broke it by 2 pips, you know, that could be a nice take profit. But overall, my first TPs are around 175, 174, but this can go possibly towards 173, 172. But let's not look to be greedy. You know, let's take profits, you know, after we catch that first 100, 200 pips. And then after that, we reevaluate. If price gives us another pullback, then we could look to take it down longer for another setup. So just to give you guys a heads up, you know, you're not really looking to trade and hold GA, you know, for 3-4 months. You know, once you make that 100, 200 pips and it hit your TP1s, you can get out the trade and wait for it to make that retracement back up so you can get in again. Just always make sure to put your stops above either the previous day highs or the previous daily lows or whatever, just so you can have some breathing room between your trades. All right, so yeah, GA, you gave you my thoughts on that. Let's move on to the next one. GBPAUD, GBPNZD, you know, are some of the pairs I'm really looking to trade this week because I've been watching them for, you know, over a month, and we finally been getting a breakout. So right now, GN on the monthly, you can see that we had a strong pull down from 2.5 all the way down to 1.75 or 1.7, and then ever since then, prices found support, pulled up, came back down, pulled up, and now it's resting on top of the black EMA. And if you look detailed at the black EMA, you can kind of see the candles. You can see we have one bearish engulfing right here, a 3-pin pattern here, another bearish engulfing, railroads, shooting star, and right now we have an indecision candle on this previous month. So right now it's looking like GN is getting, or GBP is getting weak, and I can see the New Zealand dollar potentially gaining strength possibly sometime this month. Overall, let's go back down to the weekly. On the weekly chart, you can see, on the weekly chart, we can see that price, like I said, has been struggling to find resistance with in this area where these wicks are at. You can see there's 1, 2 wicks right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 here. Pull down, pull right back up within that same little area, 1, 2, 3, 4 wicks, and then what is that? 2 weeks ago, we finally got a bearish engulfing that broke the structure. And then recently, last week, we got a retest of that broken structure. So on the daily chart, I could kind of show you guys what I mean by that, the broken structure. So right here, you can see that we drew a trend line at the bottom, and we started it from here and connected it to this point. So real quick, let me just delete and redraw it so you guys can see how we do that. So I'm starting it from this point here, and then I'm connected it to this point right here. So you see point A to point B extended out to the future. Price finally broke through here, found support, and then on the pull up, it found that resistance on that same broken trend line and gave us a double top pattern. So with that, we looked to sell it, shooting star, engulfing candle, and then now we're looking for a pull back up so we can look to sell it and break these lows, possibly back down towards 191 or 190. So looking right here, you can see after this broken structure right here, price pulled down. So I drew my fib from this high to this low. Let me just redraw so y'all can see. So drew it from this high down to this low. Price came a few pips shy of the 61.8, but gave us a 3-pin off the 38.2. And overall, like I said, I can see this hitting our negative 27 around 191 or 190. So overall, right now, price is at 192. This week ahead, I would love to see a retracement back into the 193 area like this. And if it could find resistance around probably the 38.2, the 61.8 would be, you know, more probability for me. So let's just say if it hits the 61.8, it may not go this high, just to let you guys know, but just for scenarios, I would like to see this scenario more so because it gives me higher probability and I can put my stops a lot tighter. So if it were to do something like that, I would like to see it pull down and break these lows right here. And overall, this should be anywhere from 150 to 300 pip setup on GN. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Let's move on to the next one. I think this is the last pair I'm gonna go over, and then I'm gonna hand it over to Brandon. EURJPY. So EURJPY right now, if you didn't take the sell last week, it's not really an opportunity to sell right now. So overall, if you're looking to sell, you would have to wait for somewhat of a retracement back towards the upside. Overall, if we look at this on the monthly, you can see that we were in somewhat of a bullish trend. Price found resistance around 137, 138 area, and then ever since we've been getting strong bearish candles. So like right here, strong bearish engulfing. The next two candles pull up. So they made somewhat of a flag. The next candle, bearish engulfing. Right here, two candles, bullish, retest, another flag. So I expect potentially to see another bearish engulfing push back down, possibly towards either 126 or 124. If we don't get anything like that, then possibly price to find resistance around the 127 area and fail to break these lows, and then look for it to pull back up higher. So overall, on EURJPY, I would rather look for the selling opportunities because of the strong candlesticks, the strong bearish candlesticks off the monthly, and then come into the weekly. We can see that this previous candle, this last week's candle, ended in a clear shooting star. So overall, if price fails to break these lows, then I'll look for it to possibly pull back up towards 130, 128. But if price could break these lows, then overall, that's price coming from what, 128 down to 126, 124 area. So price needs to break below 128. If price could break below 128, then 126 and 124 would be my long-term targets. If not, then I look for price to pull back up towards 130. That 130 area is going to be crucial for me. Price is going to have to break above 130 for me to change my overall bearish opinion. But overall, we can see that price shot down this candle right here on this weekly candle. It gave us a retest and it closed in a shooting star. So overall, it's looking like there's really no reason for price to keep going up unless it's going to be a retracement move. So with EJ, I'll be more so looking for selling opportunities. So if I could see something like this, possibly, I don't know if prices can go all the way back up to 130, maybe like the 129.5, 129.8 area. But let's just say it comes up to 130 and finds resistance. Then I would like to see it do something like this. And then if it finds resistance at 130 and then pulls down to 128 area, that 128 area is going to be a key bounce or break area. So price is either going to break through or bounce off and come back up. So overall, just wait for price to potentially pull up. If it doesn't do that, then hey, just move on to the next pair. But overall, I'm looking for price to pull up and then shoot back down towards 128. At 128, that's going to be a key break or bounce area. So either it bounces from 128 and pulls back up to the upside like this, or it breaks through and then it goes down to my long-term take profit towards 126 to 125. But remember, with any breakout of strong support or resistance, we like to see that breakout and always like to see that retest. The entry on the retest will be so much less stress than trying to gamble and just trying to take trades, off of the highs or the lows or looking at the wicks, because those candles haven't really printed yet. So you don't really know where price is going. But if you wait for the breakout and retest, it's higher probability that, you're trading in the right direction. So something like this. And then we look to entry. I'm going to draw my eclipse tool right here. And then we look to enter around this area right here if we could get that retest and hold. And then look to take a lower. That's just only if it breaks below the 128. If price fails to break below 128, then overall, looking to sell it from anywhere from 129.5 to 130 down to 128 is still over 100 pip setup. So you guys should be good with that. Overall, I think that's everything that I wanted to go over. EURJPY, EURAUD, AUDUSD, EURCAD, GBPAUD, GBPNZD, and EURJPY. So those are the pairs I'm going to be looking to either buy or sell this week. Brandon's going to hop on, and he's also having some pairs that I'm looking to enter. We're both looking to enter on. So he's going to give you guys a quick little overview on that. And then if you guys have any questions, just DM us on Instagram, and then we'll be happy to get back to you guys. Hope this video helps. Here goes Brandon. Let's see.
What's going on, guys? So I'm gonna be going over Euro AUD as well as Euro USD. Let's see. Clean this up a bit. All right, so Euro AUD is definitely a pair that we've been watching for really the past month, or if not a little more, actually a little longer. It's when I first started really looking at, waiting for the breakout that it just gave us. So do a top down, take you guys to the higher time frame to see what we're looking at. All right, so as you see here on the monthly, you see we're really in a strong supply zone up here. You know, one thing about price action, you always want to look left to go right. So you see up here, we have a strong supply zone. And when I saw this area, I automatically knew I was going to be looking for short opportunities in this zone, somewhere in the zone up here, right? You see all these candle rejections to the high, all these stop hunts. These are the market makers just collecting orders. They stop the zone, pull away, stop the zone, pull away. And as you see, we're right over here again. So last time we were really at this level was around, when was that? February 2016. So as you see, this is a very strong level. And normally when you have empty price action to the left of price, and it hasn't been in this area for so long, like that's about 2 years, actually a little over 2 years. So I knew that this is a zone that I was looking for. So as you can see, once it pushed up into the zone, it gave you a reversal. It gave you a doji here, that it gave you a strong bearish rejection, a bearish engulfing candle right here, right? So this is a trend reversal. So what I would do is I would work my way down to the smaller time frame. So you see that on the monthly, you see we have a supply zone. So what you really want to do, if you wanted to enter this trade at the top, you will wait for strong bearish rejection, just like you see right here. It's pretty much price basically pushed up into the zone, came up and created a double top. But even outside of the double top, it actually came up and formed, hold on a second. It came up and formed a head and shoulders. Show you guys here. So a head and shoulders, for those of you that are new and probably don't know, it's a formation. It's a bearish formation, right? Because, I mean, the market is filled with buyers and sellers. It's filled with patterns. It's filled with a way that the market moves. And once you get familiar with price action, you get familiar with certain patterns, certain formations, certain structure, then it will make more sense on when you should take trade opportunities, right? Like you see right here. So this right here is the head of price, where this double top is, right? So it came up and formed that. Then it created a left shoulder and a right shoulder. Right shoulder right here. So really for the past 4 weeks, the past month, you can see price has been just consolidating, just ranging in this zone, right? And you never really want to be inside of a choppy, ranging market. Not saying that you can't make money, you know, when it's going up and down, but it's always great to wait for that breakout. To wait for the breakout and you wait for a pullback to really take your entry. If you weren't in at the top, then you always want to wait for a pullback. So, because whenever price breaks out like this, it always has a pullback correction. So it makes pullbacks and creates those little flags, which is a bearish flag here to continue breaking through. All right. So you can see 4 weeks of just straight ranging, right? You see a bunch of dojis right here. So this is showing that the market is getting ready to continue, getting ready to break out whenever you have a consolidation box like this here. Right. So I drew that. Knowing that you have a head and shoulders, that's just more confirmation. Let's see. And as you can see, we finally got our breakout here. We were really looking for the break of 5.7, right, about a week or so ago. But once we see this wick, you see this candle here, it came and pushed down. It broke, but it didn't close. It didn't close below. So a confirmed break of any zone is not just when they wick it. Because a lot of times they like to wick it. They like to get you to try to, you know, think that that's the breakout, when if you were trying to buy this or sell this at this time, you could have lost this trade, because they basically just spiked the zone and pulled back up, pulled away from it. So here now you see we're getting a strong bearish candle. We're getting a strong break. So from that, now we're going to wait for the pullback. All right, so let me show you guys based off of the fib we're looking for. All right, so I would draw my fib from this swing high. If you're looking at the long term, this is where I would draw my fib. So on top of price consolidating, it's been basically consolidating and spiking through my 61.8. If you know anything about the Fibonacci retracement, 61.8, that's a golden area right there, a golden area for price reversal, price rejection. And this is where it came up to. So a pullback, 61.8 rejection, boom, broke away, broke out, right? Now, so seeing prices at this level, you don't want to just enter. The market is soon to open, but what we're looking for is a pullback to retest this breakout zone. So I would look for something like this. I expect price to pull back to at least between 5.7, 5.73, maybe 5.74 at the highest, right? I don't really expect price to go really no higher than 5.74, but I would say definitely between a range of 5.7 and 5.74. So that's really like a 40 pip range. So anywhere in that area, I will be looking for short opportunities. All right. So you always want to wait for the pullback, wait for the correction, and then continuation. And this is a setup that we're expecting, you know, 200-300 pips easy, if you really have patience and you really take this trade. Because if you look at long term where it's going, based off the head and shoulders, based off of the strong supply zone, based off of this confirmed pullback flag here, this is really the second level of drop. All right. Also on a smaller time frame, like on the 4 hour, it's oversold, right? So that's letting you know that price has to pull back for the correction. All right, so that's Euro AUD. USD. Look at Euro USD. So Euro USD, we're really in another consolidation, in another ranging zone right now. Price has been ranging in this area. Ground. This is a key breaker bounce area right here. We're either looking for bullish confirmation to reverse to the upside, or we're waiting for a strong breakout close below around, let's say 15.4, 15.3. These wicks here, you see price wick. It's been wicking this zone, but it's keep pulling up. It's keep pulling up. You look to the left, this has been a strong level of support right here, right? Keep looking to the left. This also was resistance way back here, strong level of supply. So in order for us to go with the bias of supply or the bias of the bears to the downside, we will want to see something like this. Strong bearish break below and a close below. And then you can wait for a pullback. You could take a lower. But based off of what EURUSD has been doing on a smaller time frame, I'm expecting some type of rejection, possibly this week. All right, because the market really moves in waves. If you see where the market is now, it's been moving in waves through this zone here. Show you here. One wave up here. One wave. Back to the downside. Two. Rejected here at this level of demand, this level of support. Push right back up for the third wave up. And the fourth wave down here. So now we're at that same psychological, same area of support. So if we don't get a confirmed break of this level, I can see EURUSD going back up to the high, maybe another 50, 100 pips, if not more. But that's when you set your goals. That's when you say, okay, am I looking to catch 30 pips? I'm looking to catch 50 pips. And then you calculate your risk. Every time going into trade, you want to understand what you're about to risk and what you're looking to gain. All right, so that way it's all about probability. But based off this level here, I'm really waiting to see if we can get some bullish rejection. All right, and you don't want to just hop in the trade just because it's at support, because support can be broken. All right, nothing is guaranteed. But if we have some bullish rejection like this here, maybe start seeing some reversal candles, a bullish engulfing, then you can wait for a pullback and you can take the trade. All right, or if we see a break here below, a close or confirmed break, not just a spike. These wicks here, how they just spike this level. You want to see a confirmed break below here. All right, and then a pullback, and then you can take the trade low. See here. See on the 4 hour, price has really been respecting these levels. All right, GBP. Let me take a look at GBPJPY. I'm going to let you guys go. So GJ really gave us a continuation of the bearish trend that has been moving in recently. You see here it's been moving. It's been moving in an uptrend. As you see these touches from this starting at this low. All right. Higher lows, it's creating higher lows and higher highs here. Higher low. All right, so as you can see, we had 3 touches. About 3 to 4 touches on our trend line here going to the upside. And then here on the weekly, you see we had a strong break. All right, a break and a close above. And that's normally what we look for when we're looking for a breakout. So it broke out our trend line, bearish engulfing. So if you wanted to enter this trade, you want to wait for a pullback. You can see price pulled back up, retested the trend line, then dropped again, right? Then it pulled back up again for another retest of our broken structure, but it didn't break above. It just came back to retest it, continue down. So now, on these smaller time frames here, we have some minor demand right here, right? We have a little small demand zone right here, and price has been respecting this level right here. So we're either looking for a break or a bounce right here. Show you guys. As low as 143.25, 143.2 in that area. We don't want price to break below this. So if we get price to come down and do similar price action to what it did over here to the left, a strong rejection in this area, and then you see maybe a bullish engulfing, right? Or you see bullish momentum, it's taken off, you can see another retest to the upside. So that's kind of that's actually what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a rejection or a break. So let's say it comes down here. This is a scenario. This is a bullish scenario, pulls up from here, pulls back. Price never just takes off without having some type of correction. So if it breaks up, expect a little pullback. And I can see it's coming up back to 146, possibly as high as 147. All right. But if price don't respect this zone and it breaks below, then that's when you can start looking for more shorts. Because the bears are definitely taking over if price breaks and closes below this zone here. And then that's when you can look for your opportunity for a pullback, retest of this zone, and you can take your shorts down to the downside. All right, so that's pretty much it for our weekly outlook for this week. We're gonna definitely make sure we keep everybody up to date in our Telegram with different analysis, different trades that we're looking at. But we keep you guys in the loop. Happy trading, looking to have a successful week, and I hope everybody catches pips.